What if I told you that the sport watched by 5 billion people on this planet almost got banned forever? That's right, football, the beautiful game, was once so violent and chaotic that a king had to step in and shut it down. No refs, no rules, no mercy, just pure madness. So, how did we get from that to the World Cup, the Champions League, and Messi lifting a golden trophy? Buckle up, this is the full story. The Messi beginning, before 1863, let's go back way back long, before Premier League highlights and fantasy football people were already kicking things around. Ancient China had a game called Cuju, which basically means kick the ball played around 200 BC. It involved leather balls and bamboo goals, simple fun, and honestly, not that different from what kids do in the streets today. The ancient Greeks, Romans, and even the Maya civilization had their own versions too. But here's the wild part: in medieval England, football wasn't a game, it was a war. Entire villages would line up against each other, no pitch, no rules. The ball could go through fields, rivers, and markets. Players punched, kicked, and tackled anything that moved. People got seriously hurt, some even died. Things got so bad that in 1365, King Edward III of England banned football completely. Anyone caught playing had to pay a fine. This ban lasted nearly 350 years. Football was basically illegal for 3.5 centuries. But people couldn't stop by the 1600s. When Queen Elizabeth I's reign ended, the ban was lifted slowly. The sport crept back, this time into schools. Posh schools like Eton and Harrow started playing it, and with educated minds involved, people started thinking, maybe we should write some actual rules. The birth of modern football, 1863. And that brings us to the moment everything changed. October 26th, 1863, a group of clubs gathered in London and formed the world's first football body, the Football Association. They sat down, argued, debated, and finally wrote a rule book: no carrying the ball with your hands, no kicking opponents, and a basic version of the offside rule. Some clubs disagreed with the no hands rule and walked out. Those guys went on to create rugby. Fair enough, but the FA stayed together, and what they created that day would grow into the most popular sport in human history. The first international football match was played in 1872, Scotland versus England, at Hamilton Park in Glasgow. It ended 0-0. Not exactly a thriller, but hey, it was historic then. In 1873, Scotland formed its own football association. The sport was spreading. And then came the big one, May 21st, 1904. FIFA was born in Paris. 7 founding nations: France, Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. Their goal? Make football truly global. The first World Cup in dark times, 1930, 1945. Football kept growing through the early 1900s. Clubs formed, leagues started, rivalries began. And in 1930, the dream became real. The first ever FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay. Uruguay won. On home soil, football was officially a global event. But the good times didn't last. 1939, World War II broke out. Football competitions across Europe were cancelled. Players were drafted into the military. Stadiums went quiet. For nearly 6 years, the world's favorite game was on hold. It was football's darkest hour. The rebirth. Pell changes everything. 1950s, 60s. After the war, football slowly came back to life, and in 1955, a boy from Brazil made his debut that would shake the world. His name was Pell. At just 17 years old, Pell played in the 1958 World Cup, and didn't just play, he dominated 2 goals in the final. Brazil won, and Pell became the youngest World Cup winner in history, a record nobody has broken to this day. Football had its first superstar, not just an athlete, a cultural icon. Pell went on to win 3 World Cups with Brazil. To this day, many call him the greatest of all time. Meanwhile, in Europe, something beautiful was happening. The European Cup launched in 1955, bringing together the best clubs from across the continent. Real Madrid won the first 5 editions in a row, powered by legends like Alfredo Di Stefano and Ferenc Puskás, true super team, decades before the term even existed. The beautiful game evolves. 1960s, 80s. By the 1960s and 70s, football was more than a sport, it was a lifestyle. 2 players defined this era in very different ways. Johan Cruyff of Ajax invented something called total football: fluid positions, high pressing, quick passes. It was smart, dynamic, and changed how the game was played forever. George Best of Manchester United was a different story: pure genius on the pitch, dribbles that left defenders dizzy, goals from impossible angles. But Best was more interested in celebrity life. He once said, choosing between scoring a great goal and other pleasures was genuinely difficult. He was the original rock star footballer. Then came the 1980s, the rise of Italian football. AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus dominated Europe, and in 1984, Napoli paid a record fee to sign an Argentinian who would become a living legend. Diego Maradona. He transformed Napoli from a mid-table club into Italian champions twice, but he's perhaps most famous or infamous for the 1986 World Cup quarter-final against England. A hand a punch, really a goal that the referee never saw. The hand of God. Maradona went on to lift that World Cup for Argentina. Controversial? Yes, brilliant? Absolutely. The modern era is born 1990s. The 1990s were a turning point. The offside rule was updated, red cards and yellow cards became standard, and in 1992, the English League was rebranded as the Premier League. With a massive focus on TV rights and commercial revenue, big money had arrived in football. Sir Alex Ferguson built a Manchester United dynasty. Pep Guardiola, as a player, helped Barcelona dominate Spain, and legends like Zinedine Zidane and Ronaldo Nazario, the original Ronaldo from Brazil, were putting up numbers nobody had ever seen. Ronaldo had 200 career goals before the age of 21. Zidane was the world's greatest playmaker. They faced each other in the 1998 World Cup final, and Zidane won it for France with 2 goals. The greatest rivalry in sport. 2010s. Then came the 2000s, and 2 players who would split the entire world into 2 camps. Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Manchester United in 2003, a raw teenager from Portugal. Season by season, he evolved. By 2008, he had broken the Premier League goal record, won the Champions League, and claimed his first Ballon d'Or. Real Madrid then paid $100 million, a world record, to sign him. And in Barcelona, Lionel Messi was quietly becoming something else entirely under Pep Guardiola. Messi exploded in 2012. He scored 91 goals in a single year, a record that may never be broken. He won 4 Ballon d'Ors in a row. The debate started. Who is the greatest of all time? For over a decade, Ronaldo and Messi swapped Ballon d'Ors, Champions Leagues, and headlined Spain's national team with Xavi, Iniesta, and Casillas, won 3 consecutive international tournaments. From 2008 to 2012, football had never seen anything like it. The New World 2018 to today 2018 brought 2 big changes. VAR, the video assistant referee, arrived. Fans quickly learned to love and hate it. France won the 2018 World Cup, and a teenager named Kylian Mbappé announced himself to the planet. Then came 2022, the World Cup in Qatar, and in the most dramatic final ever played, Lionel Messi finally lifted the one trophy missing from his collection. Argentina won on penalties, and the GOAT debate? For many, it was finally settled today. A new generation is taking over. Mbappé, Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. These are the names filling highlights reels and breaking records now. Messi is in the United States, with Inter Miami. Ronaldo plays in Saudi Arabia. A chapter has closed from a chaotic street game in medieval England to a banned sport to a 1863 rulebook to global superstars and billion-dollar leagues. Football didn't just survive, it became the heartbeat of the entire world. And the best part? The story isn't over. The next chapter is being written right now on pitches in Brazil, academies in Spain, and dusty streets in Africa and Asia by kids who dream of one day lifting that golden trophy. Football always finds a way, and that's exactly why we love it.